Hello everyone, and welcome to EcoSpace's Wildlife Garden Design Breakdown and Rationale. On this video, we'll be presenting our design scheme for the Welldon Park Nature Trail, which won a Community Award in 2014. The existing school site is predominantly playground, grass with trees, and shrubs around the perimeter. The present circulation and landscape usage is very unbalanced and congested. Children mainly play in the playground and not using the green areas to the perimeter. At home time, parents and children congregate en masse at the two school entrances, causing a lot of congestion. My strategy moving forward was to make use of the far extent of the site, creating a journey which travelled around the perimeter, which linked the two entrances of the school together. The idea of a nature trail was developed, which would consist of a pathway creating a journey through an array of various wildlife habitat types. 3 circular sitting areas would be created along the journey for outside classes and group activities. The material we used for the pathways was Breedon free-binding gravel, which both allows water to pass through and provides sunbathing opportunities for certain species of reptiles and insects. Nature viewing dens were to be created facing a new woodland bog area. They were green to blend in with the landscape with green roofs on top. The benefits of viewing dens in schools are they give the children the opportunity to develop patience and concentration. All too often in modern forms of media including television, constant ability to focus on one concept for any length of time. I personally believe this has had a negative impact on modern children's ability to concentrate when learning. Whereas reading is the best way to develop this discipline, some students are not naturally academic, and wildlife watching could be the way for them to develop a higher concentration level in the classroom. If you ask any fisherman about the calming meditative state experienced when focusing on a single point in a natural setting, they will tell you of a deep spiritual peace it brings to the soul. I believe this activity could greatly benefit children with attention deficit disorders, growing a keen interest in wildlife and natural environments. Meadows are a hive activity for wildlife, and they provide food and shelter for every type of creature from insects, reptiles, amphibians to birds to mammals. Meadows used to be commonplace in Britain. They were grown for the production of hay, which would feed grazing farm animals through the cold winter months. With today's modern animal feeds, hay meadows are no longer necessary, but with a need to reduce greenhouse gases, I believe they could eventually replace mown grass in our towns and cities. Woodland habitats have been boosted around the perimeter of the school grounds and along the nature trail. A large area of woodland was created to the north of the site with young native trees and shrubs planted. Some of the new tree species included hazel, rowan, elder and oak. We brought 5 tons of logs to site to set into woodland areas to create habitats for insects and fungi. Some of the animal species you would expect to see here are wrens, toads, weasels and hedgehogs. Tree species planted along the nature trail included mountain ash, which provides hundreds of edible berries every year, birch, which provides sap for insects, and edible seeds for birds, hazel, which provides nuts in autumn essential for small mammals such as dormice, willow, which has many associated animal species, and oak, which has over 200 associated species. An orchard was planted at the bottom right hand side of the site. So here are just some images of the completed project, including some of the highlights of the new landscape scheme. Nature viewing dens from the depth of the bog and wetland meadow. The viewing dens from the woodland meadow, these were really successful. I spoke to the school recently and apparently there are now after school birdwatching clubs and insect clubs. It really has been a huge success. I have to say this project really has been the highlight of my career so far. They look great. Looking out of the hides from a bit further from the rear. The hides from the side, rear side. This is a mini beast drainage swale that runs down from the bog wetland area. The seasonal flooding nature of this swale is a good habitat for specialist insects. Some planting along the trail itself. Now this is Fatsia, which has pretty much a zero wildlife value and is not native to our shores. However, it's a striking evergreen plant which is tough in nature, means it's good for commercial landscape schemes. Sometimes I have to balance the planting to incorporate evergreen plants with architectural form to add extra interest for the scheme as a whole, especially when there's native and ecological planting involved in the scheme. The nature trail running along a meadow mound. Log piles, and to finish up the amphitheatre, which is perhaps more of a theatre type stage really, a multi-use area, but very diverse nonetheless. That's the meadow in its first year, so needs a little bit of time to establish. So I hope you've enjoyed this presentation today. With one last look at the presentation sheet, www.eco-spaces.co.uk, or you can just Google Wildlife Gardens for Schools and you should find us. So if you found this video interesting or you want to know more information, please subscribe or like and share.